Welcome to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here today with Brian Parana, fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle coach for busy pros. Welcome, Brian.
Hello, hello, Debbie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm trying to figure out where you are right now. What's
I
behind you?
am I'm in a barn gym, a garage gym type thing.
Love it.
So behind me, I've got a couple exercise pieces. I'm blocking the creepy looking boxing guy, the boxer that my clients love to punch, especially after a long, stressful workday, right? Left, right.
That's that sounds awesome. I was like, where is he? Looks like you're in a bunker. All right. Ryan Parana is a health and performance coach with 20 plus years of experience helping busy professionals regain control of their health while balancing career and family. He goes beyond diets and workouts using science backed strategies, personalized plans, and consistent support to build confidence, improve wellness, and create sustainable results. A former CrossFit gym owner and coach to elite athletes, Brian has guided thousands towards stronger, healthier, more balanced lives. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, thank
I always miss these photos as I'm reading my little bio.
you.
Wow, looks like some fun trips.
We've been, our family has been to all 50 states and we're working on all seven continents as a family of six, which
A
is pretty
family
unique.
of,
Yes. We just got
you
back from Peru and Machu Picchu about 3 weeks ago for spring break.
wow, for you. And what's the age range?
We have 16, Levi Everett's 15, Maxwell is soon to be 13, and Emmeline soon to be 11. Three boys and
Wow,
a girl.
that's incredible. How fun. In all 50 states.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a
My wife
favorite?
Amber, she's wanderlust to the extreme. She loves to travel. She's actually a travel advisor herself and sends people on bucket list style trips.
Ooh, I
Things that
love
you
that.
only dreamt of. She says, let's go do them. And she creates opportunities and ways for clients to be able to do that and experience things on such a grander scale. So she practiced on our family first, hence the 50 states and hitting up. We've been to Europe, multiple different places. We were in Africa on a safari and the pyramids. We just got back from Peru and Machu Picchu and the piranhas, fish for piranhas in the Amazon. Very, very awesome experiences.
Oh my God, that's incredible. I love it. That is very exciting. So let's go on to Brian. If you would paint a picture, because I'm visual, first of all, where are you in the world? Because I do not know where you are.
Some people may have heard this guy, LeBron James, right? The basketball player, right? The king. Well, I'm in his hometown, Akron, Ohio. We're a little south of
Okay,
Cleveland and right there.
very nice. So if you would paint a picture of where you grew up and then what led you to where you are today in the fitness and wellness space.
Well, when I was younger, I always liked activities and sports. Start off with baseball, and I can't even tell you how many baskets I shot in my backyard at the house that I grew up in. That transitioned into playing some high school basketball, but I wasn't really good at catching the ball apparently. So I said, you know what? I can't do this. And so from there, stemmed into my buddy, a high school friend, actually a middle school friend that I actually saw Monday. Today is Thursday. Literally just saw him. We worked out here in this barn. Dan Smith is his name. He invited me to run track, and that created this passion for exercise, for training, for taking care of myself. Let's say vanity played a little bit of a role there. I want to look good, feel good, right? Uh,
Right.
but then after that, it's like, oh, I ran marathons, Boston. I did triathlons. I own CrossFit gyms. I was a personal trainer, and I've become a health coach for the last online, remotely, people all over the U.S. and beyond for the last 12 years.
Wow. So you've got to live your passion from the beginning, it sounds like. That's incredible.
Yes, I actually have a
That's
degree and I use it every day.
that's right. I bet there's a lot of psychology that goes into that that training.
Uh, yes, the personal psychology is probably even more important than just the act of the exercise or nutrition. Those are really simple. So many people come to me, Brian, I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. Okay, let's start peeling back the layers of this person with how busy they are, what responsibilities they have in their life, how things are going, plus minus. Most people that come to me are not in a good, healthy spot, usually in some of the worst shape that they've been in or condition, and they need help. And my job is to help figure out how to make simple steps toward that
Mhm.
goal so that they can gain traction and actually do those things that they know they need to do, but actually want to do them as well.
So how do you do that? Let's before we go to all the other stuff, how psychologically do you help someone? They know what they need to do, but how do you get in their head or get them to motivate, to get into motion? What is the trick?
Motivation, pretty funny because that was my social media post today. Motivation is a myth, right? And because everybody wants to be motivated to take action, but we know that's not how it works. You, with your sixth level of success, you're not motivated every day to do what you need to, or even say this podcast. You've been putting it on, and but it's an act of passion, love, and extension of what your business is. But you might not be always the most excited to be. This is the thing I wanted to do today, right? Same thing
Right.
with me. Exercise. I'm tired. The human in me overrides the trainer in me, right? The simple question or phrase, you've heard this so many times. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right?
Mhm.
How do we make it drink? Because you can, you just have to know how. So my question to you, Debbie, is how do you get the horse to actually drink the water?
I just wrote a book called Mindset in Motion, Activate Purpose, Power, and Peak Performance. So for
Yes.
me, it's not thinking, it's just getting up and doing and getting into motion. Forget what you feel like, you just start
Right.
going.
Right. Definitely. And we could even subscribe to say like Mel Robbins, the 5 4 3 2 1, just go. Right.
Right.
But behavior and human patterns and the psychology and their mood, whether it's sunny outside or not, who knows what can override that drive to just go do the things, right? How you lead a horse to water is you salt the oats before you take it to the water. It's going to eat. Salt the oats, it's thirsty, so it drinks the water when you get there. Hence, when you understand why someone wants to do something, you understand their strengths, their weaknesses, what
Mhm.
motivates them, what doesn't, and you start leaning everything toward their strengths and the approach that you take, it becomes a much more natural step because so many people come into my life thinking that, oh, I have to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice on repeat, and I have to start a marathon program, or do the 8 days a week Arnold Schwarzenegger exercise in the gym, but I hate doing that stuff. And when I can say flip the coin upside down and they see it from a different perspective, oh, you mean I can just walk more than I did last week? Yeah. How about we just start there? Because then that can facilitate more of a positive connection and relationship with them moving their body. It allows them to start actually scheduling real time that they have to take to exercise and move themselves. And then we can then worry about doing something later, like getting them into the gym or anything else with exercise as soon as we start facilitating those better relationships with exercise because the last personal trainer they went to, they went in twice and they couldn't walk for 2 weeks and they were done.
Right. So it's the compound effect. It's just a
Of
little
course.
bit, baby steps, and one
Yep.
foot in front of the other, and just don't overwhelm yourself.
Right.
Um, and I
Just a
also
method.
think too, when people lose weight too, they feel better. And when they lose a little weight, if that comes first, they lose a little weight and then they're more inclined. So
Right.
just all these little things. So after 20 plus years in the fitness and wellness space, what's the biggest misconception busy professionals still have about getting healthy? I'm sure everyone wants to know.
Yeah, that they have to work so hard at it, right? They have to go into hustle mode. They have to do the white knuckling, the all or nothing drill. Chances are, at the point that they see me, they've already done all those things and they are still in a worse position than they have been in their life. So consequently, we have to then go through the exact same things that we just talked about is how do I get this person to uncheck that box of hustle mode, always on, have to be perfect, all these things to then start bringing into some levels of moderation, balance, and flexibility built into their life. And I like to call that middle gear mentality. And then when people can loosen the grip on that steering wheel that they're so gripping, it allows them to actually more easily accept that they do have to do something no matter what. Debbie, you know this, you have to do something to get to the outcome if you of whatever you want in life. It's a pay to play type relationship. You want to have this type of lifestyle, you want to have this type of body, you want to have money in the bank, you want to have relationships with the people you love closest to you. You have to put time, energy, and effort into those. And we have to get off of this instant gratification and this on demand type thing. Why didn't I lose 10 pounds in 10 days or something? That's not real. And I'm sorry that you've been told that's the outcome that you should be pushing for because it's not sustainable. It's not going to actually work for you.
Absolutely. So what, as a coach, we get excuses all the time. I don't have time. That is my word. If I, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I don't have
Uh-huh.
time. There's no, I'm pretty darn busy and I make time for everything. So when someone says that to you, they've come to you and now they're, oh, but Brian, I don't have time. What do you say to that, Brian?
Yep. I say everyone that I ever have talked to is all caps busy. They're busy. It's all relative to their own life. And if we want to talk about how busy you and I are, hey, let's have a go at it. I'm self-employed for 15 years. My wife is self-employed. She's got two businesses. We have four kids that are in the middle ages of child rearing and parenting and blah 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 blah, right? It doesn't matter. The a person on the other end does not care about how busy I am, but that the fact that I can make time for them. So time management does become an important part of this process. And people are like, oh, if I just eat better and move more, then I'll lose weight. Sure. But there's so many other aspects and parts of the human that we have to take into account: time management, stress management, what's happening in this week of their life or even this day of their life to then help them make better choices and ultimately schedule the things appropriately and then learn the skills that they need to better, in quotations, meal plan or meal prep or get to the gym and all those things. So for you and I, we might have higher levels of skill around time management or cooking or exercising or whatever is priority for us because we've already gone through some iterations of struggle on that. Even right now, as a business entrepreneur, I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall on the social media wall, and because I've released 100 podcasts of my Driven for Health podcast in the last 6 months, but it still feels like it's not going anywhere, right? I'm like, oh, but then you need to clip it up and put those all on social media. I'm like, people, that takes time and energy and blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, I need to find better processes and systems around how to manage that entity of my business of social outreach or the top of funnel in a sense. And as soon as I find better ways to delegate and SOP and have better processes and systems in it, then all of a sudden, oh, Podcast is really easy. I can just show up, do the thing, and step out because I have a team and systems to manage that in a much better way than just trying to do everything myself.
Absolutely. No, this is the first. I am such a control freak, so I finally released a block of work to my VA, who
Yeah.
now collects your assets, gets your information, gets your stuff, and so I can check in with you if I
Yes. And she did
need
a
you.
wonderful job, and she followed up and made sure that I was here on time. I was, on time. I just had to refresh that button.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's hard. Yes, it's hard, but I agree with the systems and the time
Right.
management. And so if someone, so they're busy, and so but they're coming to you, they want to work with you. So what
Yes.
is the minimum that you might start someone out in a health and wellness fitness program? How might you start to break someone in?
Definitely, definitely. Well, in terms of length, usually it's 3 months or longer is a viable time to be able to get some actual real habits and behaviors and actual changes in the body that can result in long-term success. And then it can branch out from there. But let's even break it down into the first week of what do we even do and getting started with turning the cruise ship around in a sense, right? We're not just going to pivot on a dime, but if we give the the navigation system better coordinates and teach it how to move the ship, then we can get it to respond a lot faster. And in the beginning, someone has to have a desire, a want to be able to experience a healthier lifestyle. Okay. So the last lady I literally just talked to, highest blood sugar was 360. Her A1C is 9. What does that mean? She is a type 2 diabetic. A lot. And she'd been there for 7 years. And medicine and nutrition, doing it on her own, aren't helping. She needs help. She needs someone to reprogram her and get her moving in the right direction because also she's a nurse. And technically, we could say she knows better, but she has a lot of life. She's also human. There's things going on in the back end with her mother, with just challenges. She wanted to go to school some more. So let's just pack on all this layers of stress and a lack of knowledge around nutrition because nursing doesn't imply that they know a lot about nutrition. They know a lot about helping people get out of being sick or ill in a sense. So with her, we have this desire and then we get on a call and then we move forward like, okay, we're doing this. And then the very beginning is just really about education and helping them be on the same foundation or starting playing field with me so that we have clear terms of our, say, rules of engagement. We're going to be focused on moving a certain amount, drinking a certain amount, trying to get sleep, and definitely spending a lot of time on nutrition to help them start making better choices. And at the very least, Debbie, the simple question that we can ask them coming from the very first time with me is, can you just make better choices than you did last week or yesterday? And if I can get them to say yes to that, then the door is wide open, right? They've unlocked it and they've opened the door and we can start making progress. Because it can be, we can track and weigh and measure food and all these things. But for a lot of people, that's too overwhelming. And I need to
Right.
find a better starting point of education, make it very, say, science backed without the jargon, making it simplified as possible so that they just know what to do and they have a very clear simple plan to follow coming from that first conversation. And then we have to just, okay, we've set the course, now let's just stay on course and make those tiny adjustments as we go, just like any other long distance mode of transportation, driving in a car, flying on a boat. We're constantly redirecting where we're headed to get to the destination. Because even if you're 1% off, 1 degree off flying out of NYC and you want to go to London, you might end in Morocco by the time you're done. And we're not anywhere close to what we want as far as our goals go.
And I assume that you're just trying to build it in so it's a routine, so it becomes natural and they don't have to think about it because you've got them set off on the right foot and the right track.
Exactly. Yep. And it varies wildly from one person to the next because every human is individualized. They have their own experiences and relationships when it comes to taking care of themselves and their skill levels.
Tell me, you talk about science based. What's the science behind all of this?
Oh, just factual, real life, peer reviewed information that has been distilled for decades around how many calories should you eat, or your protein intake, or how much fiber you should drink, or water, or what your activity should look like. These are just basic things that humans need to do to live a healthy lifestyle. And oftentimes it's not even a weight loss problem because a lot of people have lost a lot of weight. It's a weight maintenance problem and they don't know how to stay there. So, how do we continuously do these basics over and over and over and over again, which you and I both know, especially mastering success and mindset? It's the basics that you always have to go back to
Right,
reframe yourself when things start to get off track, because that's what keeps you moving in a clear path forward to have the level of success that you're after. It's not fancy tactics. It's not this Amazon berry that they found just recently in the last week and they put into a pill or something, or even say the GLP-1s that we have with Ozempic and all that stuff.
right,
That is a tool. It can be a very effective tool, but also in the long term, the main mechanism is you just aren't hungry anymore. You eat less calories. You pair that with bad habits of and no movement, and you don't have enough protein or exercise, you're going to lose a larger percentage of muscle. And when you get to your end goal, you're not going to look or feel the way that you want to. And there's a greater risk of returning higher, just like any other extreme diet type situation that we've seen since, I don't know, 1980. It's the same process if we don't change our behaviors, and you end up gaining more weight back as soon as you stop the GLP-1 and you think that you have to take this thing forever, which is not the case.
right. You can change your habits. Before we go to a quick commercial break, how much protein should one person eat? What's the goal on that?
Yeah, definitely. So for women, we'll start with the ladies first, right? I love having and encouraging women to have 100 grams or more. Most women that I've experienced working with, and thousands, are going to fall between 100 grams to 130 grams a day. Not unless you absolutely love protein, but most women, they can take it or leave it. My wife, for example, she just doesn't like chicken anymore. She's just like, you know what? Chicken is for the birds, literally speaking. So, not interested in having chicken anymore. So, how do we find other protein sources? But that's part of the whole process of okay, we do need to eat a certain amount of protein to facilitate losing fat, most importantly, keeping you full, keeping muscle on your body. And any human wants to look tone and feel good with a flat stomach at the end of their journey, and protein can be a very useful macronutrient or a food source to do that. So 100 to 130 is where most women are going to fall. For guys, uh, at minimum 140, 150 grams, but ideally somewhere between 150 to 200. And again, that depends on your love for protein, how much money you want to spend at the grocery store on protein, because it is a more expensive food item there. But most guys are going to fall between 160 to 180, which is in general a healthier body weight range for most of them, or their lean body mass, meaning their how much muscle, bones, and organs that they have on their body kind of falls into that. And same thing with women. Most women are going to have around 100-ish pounds of lean body mass, muscles, bones, and organs, and then everything else, unfortunately, is going to be fat.
All right. Well, that's helpful. We're going to go to commercial break and we'll be right back with Brian. Thank you.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk.
Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here today with Brian Parana. He is out of Akron, Ohio. So, Brian, I learn virtually. When you talk, I see things virtually. So tell us a story. When people get it right, beyond looking good and feeling good, what does that look like?
Oh my goodness. This is the biggest reason I do what I do is to see the outcomes of helping people work through the challenges that they experience when it comes to at the basics, just taking better care of themselves and choosing themselves first before constantly putting every single thing else in front, whether it's work or family or kids, relationship or endlessly, right? Terry. I'm still working with Terry. She hit a weight that she was really not excited about. We somehow came across each other. She knocked on my door, in a sense, my metaphysical business door online, and we started talking. She lived in upstate New York. And over the process of the last year, she had lost over 50 pounds through paying attention to what she ate, moving her body more, drinking more water. Again, all the basics that she knows she should do, but wasn't doing them and needed help figuring out a better way to do that. So 50 pounds down, she says one day, "Hey, I think I want to move to North Carolina. No, South Carolina, excuse me, to Myrtle Beach area where her grandson lives." Oh my gosh, that sounds like a great idea. She's in upstate New York. She's tired of the freezing cold winters and the snow and all, and wants to get to the beach, right? Now, she lost the weight and she had to put up with if someone moves even across the street, technically, right? A couple blocks away from the house or whatnot, 20 minutes away, that's still an extremely large amount of effort, let alone 5 states away or whatnot, to move hundreds of miles and relocate from selling and buying and packing up her house and hiring one of those gigantic truck mover companies and even her job. She was 15 years plus deep as an LPN at this office. She probably thought she was going to retire there until we found each other and and we started shifting. Hey, what is it that you actually want in your life? And she didn't want to stay in New York and she wanted to be closer to her family. So the weight loss was a vehicle to facilitate that. So she packed up. She ended up getting another job as a similar job where she moved. She's about 45 minutes from Myrtle Beach. She's within driving distance, like 20 minutes of her grandson. And now we're still working together. So I'll get occasional videos of Myrtle Beach, which I have personally been there way too many times, especially when I was growing up as a child. That was a main vacation spot. So I'm very fond of that beach. And it's really cool to see her taking long walks on the beach to get her steps in.
Well, that's great. So I assume it was her confidence that you built up in her that she became,
Yes.
she felt,
Yeah.
she got into her power and was able to do that. I love those stories.
Exactly.
So you work with everyday regular people like us, but you've also worked with elite athletes and high performing professionals. How does your coaching approach differ between the two, and where are they more alike than we'd expect?
Yeah, great question. I have worked with two Olympian athletes, Sofia Reynoso, a Mexican kayaker, and Kendra Harrison, a, a world record holder and silver medalist at the Tokyo Games 100-meter hurdles. Pretty wild. And lastly, a homegrown, in a sense, a personal training client from my personal training days. When I went to my gym, she came, Betsy Finley, 60-year-old world champion CrossFit athlete. We went 3 years in a row, got first, second, and eighth place. Pretty wild. And that woman never worked out before she was 50 years old. So, age group, world champion,
Wow.
very cool. So, Betsy was more like your everyday person. She was a school principal, and she just was, hey, I'm 50 and I would like to do outdoor activities and things. So she started to kayak. The only people around her were 40-year-old men. She says, hey, I probably need to get some muscle here and some strength to be able to keep up. So she started personal training and going to the gym. And then our paths crossed where she'd start coming to my classes. And ultimately, she became a client of mine. And it just was one step after another. She would come in and work out with me. She said, how much is in on that bar that I'm going to lift? I'm like, God, just lift it. It's just a little heavier than the last time. And literally, that's how we incrementally got her to be, she could deadlift 250 pounds by the time we were done at the age of like 59, 60, which is incredible. But even more incredible, I always have to share this, which is more important, is that she could go get lost on a 3-hour hike taking photography out in the wild for animals and wildlife and birds and flowers and all these things and not have a care in the world. And most 60-year-olds, they circle the block and they're like, well, checked off my exercise. I'm going to get back to my regularly scheduled programs, right? But the other two, they travel a lot. The Sophia and Kendra, they've got a lot on their plate and a lot on their mind and the training. So certainly in general, there is a higher output or higher demand for the return on investment of doing all these things to be able to facilitate the outcomes that they want as far as results go. So there's that. But again, they're just everyday people too that make choices that work in their favor sometimes and others that don't. They're just really driven in this one specific aspect of high performance with their bodies. Whereas I might have a CEO that's super driven, same characteristics, but it's in business. Or I might have someone else who's super focused on their family and taking care of their nuclear family, their partner, their spouse, their children, but they let other things go in life. And usually health is obviously the common denominator in my world since I'm a health coach.
Right, absolutely. So I'm going to be traveling a little bit with my
Yeah.
book and staying
Okay.
in hotels and getting, I'm sure, dehydrated. So what are some pointers you could, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of clients who travel a lot too. So what
Of
are your
course.
tips if you're traveling in and out and being in the airplane and, all that sort of stuff? What do you recommend?
Yeah. Number one, I have an eating on the go guide. So I could share a link or something for you to be able to pass it out. But the eating on the go guide has 28 pages of uh, fine dining to fast casual to fast food to on the road at the gas station or the airport and all the favorite places that most people go to. Think of, say, Chipotle or Starbucks or things like that. So there's a lot of information in terms of overall food choices. So there's that. The simple question, we always have to precede everything with a question because I can give you all the tactics, but that doesn't matter because you could totally forget any of them. Like the simplest tactic would be protein double vegetable when you go to most places and most restaurants. When you do that, you naturally lower the amount of calories that will come in any form of or place that you go eat, right? Most restaurants are going to serve you 1,000 plus calories on the plate because they want the food to taste good. And it'll be primarily centered around carbs, sugar, sodium, and fat, because that's what humans like and what tastes good. As soon as we get protein double vegetable, we go from 1,200 down to more like 600, 800 calories. And then we can be even more specific with how much we actually eat of it and whatnot, and to get it down to say 500 or something. So that's the basic one. Or drink a glass of water before you start eating. That's very logical, and it'll help keep you full and be more likely to eat less. How about we take seconds home? Can I just pack up half the food? These are very logical, but in the moment when that food tastes so good, you're not going to do it. Right? So the question is what is the goal that you want to have on the other end of this experience that you're going to have? So you're on a book tour. I have Henry, who's a current client that is on a cruise over in the Mediterranean. But I got another guy who's going to South Africa, and he's a Harvard professor, super smart guy, but he's diabetic and has weight issues. All right. So what happens on the other end? So the simple question is, did I enjoy myself? That's a really simple question because I want you to go have a blast on your book tour. But if you're going to bring 5 or 10 pounds home with you, let's leave it in the suitcase, not on your belly or your butt, right? And so if I can frame it, oh, I want to have a really good experience here because this book tour is multifaceted. From obvious, you're selling your book and promoting yourself. So there's a monetary uh, part of why you're doing it, but there's a social, there's a relationship building, there's entertainment, and yes, there's food too that you want to enjoy. So answering that question when you get back, did I enjoy myself? You'd want to say yes, and you're okay with the experience that you had and the results that followed. So many people come back from that cruise or that trip or whatever, and they gain 5 pounds without the expectation of, well, you had ice cream every night. Of course you're going to gain weight, right? And that doesn't necessarily lessen the response of I did enjoy myself, but what it's the friction that happens between the expectation and the experience itself. So when you think of it that way, you're like, okay, I can still have ice cream, but maybe I'm just going to have a small, or I'm going to split it with someone, or I'm going to go out and I really want the chicken parm because it's famous at this place, or whatever the dish is. I'm going to split it with someone. These are all simple solutions that can still allow you to have the experience without coming back, gain weight, unmotivated, unexcited, actually frustrated, right? People get off the airplane and the next morning the first thing to do is step on the scale. Let's not do that. Give yourself a week to get back in on track of progress of normal life, and maybe you'll lose the 3 pounds that you're carrying from flying in and of itself, because that's what's going to happen just naturally being in the flying tube in the air.
Right. And well, I assume we should be drinking a lot of water. Now, is it helpful to a lot to add electrolytes or anything else?
Well, if we're say traveling, sure, we can add some electrolytes, not Gatorade. That's just basically sugar with a little bit of potassium, sodium. But it's the 1950s Gators of the Gatorade story. Why were they so successful? Because they were putting sugar in their body at halftime, and they had more energy in the last half of the game as opposed to the other team. And that's just sport nutrition 101. Give yourself glucose and carbohydrates while you train and sweat, and you will perform better. That's just basic science. So, but yeah, we can find some different electrolytes that can help. A simple one that I find that has a lot of electrolytes is emergency. Just the basic, the cool thing. There's so many different electrolytes and vitamins and minerals listed there, and it's super easy to carry in the individualized packets that you could totally have one a day, and it squeeze easily into your stuff, and it tastes reasonably good, and it's not say like the liquid IV or the Element. Those are $1 plus a stick, whereas the last time I saw an emergency could be is more like 30 cents in a packet, and that's even more reasonable in a sense. Plus, you get again more vitamins and minerals inside that serving.
And what is your thought on creatine?
Creatine, totally. I have some. Oh, right here. Actually, it's usually off to the side, but ta-da! On demand prop.
So share the benefits of creatine because sometimes I've heard it's good and it's bad. So and someone told me they gained retained water because of it or something. So give me the myths and debunk the myths.
Yes. Decades worth of studies have shown that creatine is worth its weight to take. 5 grams are typically a scoop is generally 5 grams. That's about what you should take. And it's something that you can take ongoing. In the past, you'd have to cycle on and take a bunch at one time and then have cycles where you're on and off. And yeah, if you took 20 grams of the stuff all the time for a week, yeah, you might actually gain some because water weight, because creatine acts inside the muscle itself and it attracts water so that you can actually get stronger and lift more to then break your muscles down more to then rebuild them. And that's the cycle of what you go through for basic strength training. But if you're just taking it, you don't really have to do a loading phase where you do, say, 20 grams for 5 days in a row. You can just start taking it. It's not going to have that much of an impact on the scale. So I wouldn't really worry about that. And if you are gaining weight, it's unlikely that it's just one tiny scoop of this stuff. Like here we go. I got it. Since it's right here, we'll pull the scoop out because I can do it pretty quick. I mean,
If someone's not um, building muscle or working out with the weights, should they take it or should they not take it? What are the benefits of very
yeah.
small?
Yeah, this is pretty small, right? Pretty small scoop here. If you can see it in the video, this isn't causing you to gain 2 pounds. Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
So is that
So
about
there's,
five?
yeah, that's a 5 gram scoop is per what the back says, right? The instructions of take one scoop a day or whatever. Now, newer studies are coming out where they're saying up to 10 grams can have a lot more cognitive benefits around focus and productivity, brain health in a sense. Okay, that's worthwhile to really pay attention to and start taking note on of all right, so if I take 5, I can help with my muscles and strength and exercise and all that stuff. But if I take more, then I can possibly help with my brain and focus and productivity. So it's a very it's useful. It's cost effective in terms of all the supplements out there, and most of them you have to find what I call the minimum viable dose. Say fish oil. Fish oil is definitely a great supplement to have and can help with anti-inflammation and even with your thoughts and productivity and focus. But the combined EPA and DHA combined should be generally like 2 grams worth or 2000 milligrams. So you'd have to look at the label and then do the math on just EPA and DHA, not the total fish oil or whatever, because that can have other stuff or whatever in it. But when you combine it and you get that, your your supplement might say take 2 of these, but to get to 2000 you might have to take 6.
Oh,
And then
wow.
all of a sudden what was once a month serving is now 2 weeks. Like, oh, I need to go get more of these things to get the minimum viable dose. But beyond that, and a multivitamin and say protein powder as far as a supplement to help add more protein in, you vitamin D3, K2 as well. After those, you really have to start understanding why. Or one more, we'll throw in magnesium. Magnesium for sleep aids or for digestion purposes can be really beneficial for you to feel better. So those are going to be the main supplements in a sense to be able to take. But after that, you really got to understand why you're taking it. For example, amino acids. They come in this container that's this big or so. Half of it's full of powder, right? It's like, where's the other half? Like, why are we selling a bunch of air in here? But amino acids have been proven through science that they're unnecessary to take in addition to, as long as you're getting adequate amounts of protein. So when you realize that, oh, why am I spending $40 or whatever on this half filled container to get more response from my muscles to grow when I can just eat an adequate amount of protein, which if we rewind before the break, I said most people aren't eating enough protein in the first place. And taking a $40 supplement of amino acid isn't going to help make up that gap. It's better for you just to eat the protein in a variety of different sources so that you get the protein needs met, so that you build and keep the muscle on your body.
Protein, water. Let's talk sleep. How important is sleep?
Yeah, it's part of the core four that I always do. And
Share the core.
human,
Share
yeah.
your
So we have movement, nutrition, water, and sleep. Those are going to be the four things that we need to focus on a lot to look better, feel better, be more productive, and all this. Now, sleep, humans are the only creatures on the planet that force it and that break it and that don't abide by the natural rules of every other creature and even our own history. Go back 1,000 years, we weren't so pressed to be on this and that and do this thing, and this thing keeps me up all night long, and this thing is designed to keep and grab my attention endlessly ongoing. Example, my kids, especially my two oldest one and my oldest. I said, hey, Levi, stop living your life 10 seconds at a time on this device. Why? Because it's a design to just suck the life out of you. And you're going to wake up 10 years from now and wish you would not have done that because you've missed out on opportunity to experience real life and whatever magnitude that could be for him. But he gets a coach as a father, lucky him, right? So I'm always encouraging him to make better choices now with his time and energy. And funny enough, Debbie, he's right there. He's stretching before he goes to swim. So I had to say it out loud. He's got a smirk on his face, but
Nice
Levi,
to meet you, Levi. Nice to meet you, Levi.
Levi.
So
So
we need to wrap it up. What is one thing you would tell your younger self?
my younger self,
One piece of advice you would give to your younger self, or to a young person. What advice would that be to give?
you're gonna make it, man. You're gonna be doing the thing that you want to do later in life. And all you have to do is just keep making that decision to push toward that next best version of yourself. And if you keep that as your helm, as your North Star of Brian wants to help others take care of themselves, then as a result, you will do good in the world. You will have an ethically sourced business that makes money helping people, that you will be able to have wildlife experiences of traveling the world because you help people. And I think that would be the advice that I would tell my younger self is just keep going. Don't give up, even if it's hard or challenging or anything, because life, you definitely know this with what you do is you choose your hard. Everything's hard. Any which way you look at it, life is hard. It's convenient more than ever, but it's still hard. And you need to learn the skills and the tools and the resources and shift your mindset and stay in a positive frame of mind and mind all these things so that we can move toward, say, our best version of self, because our world really needs everyone to be the best version of themselves,
I agree.
especially right now more than ever.
Yeah, I do. I just, yeah, just to be kind to one another and support one another and do what you love and give back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this was so incredible. So how can people get a hold of you, Brian, now that you're a virtual, you can
Yeah.
train people anywhere in the world, how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, brianprana.com is going to be the easiest, best way to find me. And you'll see I've got two different programs. Momentum Method is a one-on-one experience. And then I have what I call the Call to Rise. It's a men's 100-day program where we facilitate more of a group effort around guys 40 or older to help them get out of the do not have a midlife crisis. Let's have a midlife
I love it.
evolution into your best self. So that would be the best ways. Or at Coach Brian Parana on all the socials, or Driven for Health podcast. There you go. There's a bunch of different ways to find me.
And how do we send me a text? I want to include in the notes the traveling Bible that you,
Yeah. I will have a link for you. So that would be the best, easiest way is if you busy and you travel and you eat out with your family and you just enjoy eating out, but still want to be somewhat health conscious or take care of yourself or have energy or more focus and not get a chronic illness in 5 to 20 years or something, then the eating on the go guide could definitely work out for you to give
is
you a
that on,
better frame of reference.
is that on your website?
That is a link that I'll give you
Okay,
to be able
perfect.
to get.
I will add it to the show notes. Thank you so much, Brian. This was wonderful. How fun. We'll go back to training. Bye, Levi. Thank you so much.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Success with host Debbie DiMaggio. Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Real stories, real strategies, real success.